Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paskachadya Satarani Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are picking up where we left off of the, this is a report on the international governing body for ISKCON. Our midterm, this is our strategic planning, long-term items held in Milan in October, I think 1st through 5th or whatever it was. So this is part 2, and we'll finish. And we should have time. There's a quick little report on ISKCON Italy and something short on the theme Damodar Brata Kartik season. So we're going to try to knock off 2 things today. So here we go, day 3. It was a 5-day meeting. ISKCON's Constitution. So Devakinanda Prabhu, you know, we've introduced these people before. Devakinanda Prabhu is a member of ISKCON's governing body. He oversees some countries in Southeast Asia, and he also is our attorney. He's an excellent attorney. Prabhupada wanted an attorney on the GBC. An earlier great hero was Amarendra Prabhu. The mighty arm is what we used to call him. And he actually fought for ISKCON when they were accusing us of being a cult and that chanting was brainwashing. And, you know, you don't know that era, but it was a tough time. And Amarendra fought for us 3 times. He went before the U.S. Supreme Court and won. It's to the credit of the judges at that time, and it was a credit to Amarendra. Most lawyers never even get that far, but 3 times he defended us and won. He had been a law student at the university. And it's worthwhile to mention these people because they're great heroes, actually. Amarendra was a law student at, I think it's Florida State in Gainesville? Or is it University of Florida? Go Gators. Is it University of Florida? Okay, so in Gainesville. And Prabhupada gives a lecture from Gainesville. 40,000 students, you know. And Prabhupada starts off his lecture. We've gone afield, but we've got time. Prabhupada starts off his lecture by saying, I'm speaking to you from this remote corner of the world, far from the birthplace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, especially in those days, you would consider Mayapur. It was wide open country. You could hear somebody playing a radio 2 miles away because there was nothing else. So, but Prabhupada and the great saints, they see the world differently. To Srila Prabhupada, Gainesville was a remote corner of the world. So, I mean, Dravida Prabhu, he knows Amarenda. He was a wonderful devotee. He's still alive, but he's quite elderly. And so Amarenda was a law student, met the devotees, anyway, I forget exactly, I think it was Vishnujana and Gargamuni or Brahmananda, I'm not sure, and dropped out of law school and opened the first temple in Gainesville. Amarenda also started the now famous Krishna lunch, the largest and most successful and the longest growing lunch program in the world. In ISKCON, I mean in North America, I'm sorry, I should say, in the Western world. I mean, they serve, I don't know, a couple hundred kids a day, lunch. It's fantastic. So Amar started that, and it wasn't easy. He had to fight with the campus, legally to open up the spot. He had to prove that distributing prasadam is part of our spiritual duty. We can't fully practice our religion unless we can distribute prasadam, and it's not mundane food stuff. It's spiritually surcharged. I mean, that was his defense, and he actually won. So what happened is Prabhupada visited and made that famous statement, this is the remote corner of the world. And Amarenda Prabhu was saying, oh, Prabhupada, I've got to hire these attorneys. He was actually joking. But this was a fact. I've got to hire these attorneys because we're arguing in court and it's so expensive. He said, I was in law school. Maybe I should have stayed in law school and I would have saved Krishna this money if I'd become a lawyer. He was joking. And Prabhupada said, very good. I want you to go back to school, get your law degree, and fight like Arjuna for Krishna. Fight like Arjuna for Krishna. And that was Amar. He opened up airports, so many Sankirtan spots. He was a nice devotee. So that's Amarenda, the great hero. So now we have Devaki Nanda. Yes, so many things. So if I need help, I'll ask for it. No worries, man. Just because I want to keep at least relatively close to time. So Devaki Prabhu is now our attorney and has been for a number of years doing an excellent job. He's also an excellent bhajan singer and a strong preacher. He's a nice devotee. And Govardhan will assert, confirm, he's a nice guy. So the Constitution is almost finished. It's gone through multiple reviews. What does that matter to you? Prabhupada wanted a constitution for ISKCON. Constitution means what constitutes the entity. Any organization has different elements. And what are the duties and rights of the different elements that make up that institution or organization or nation? What are the duties of temple presidents? What are the duties of sannyasis? What are the duties of Diksha gurus? What are the duties of, all that stuff? Householders. What is the duty of the ISKCON leadership to the congregation? How does all of that work? What are the standards, guidelines? That's what's in a constitution. And Prabhupada wanted that so that we work in an organized, and everybody knows the rules of the lay of the land, the rules of the, it's important. So anyway, there it is. So when we started this, of quite frankly, about 10 years ago. It started and stopped, and now it's almost finished, and it's good. It's actually an inspirational document. So when we started, the devotees thought, well, let's look in the Manu Samhita. And it's about constitutions, generally speaking, mundane constitutions, modern constitutions. Talk about rights. Give me my rights. Gay rights, women's rights, black rights, brown rights. Why now there's white rights. What are my rights? You owe me this. You have to give me this. I demand that. That's how they function. So we went to the Manu Samhita, the law book of mankind. We looked up rights. It's in the Library of Congress, digital base. You can look up Manu Samhita and you can search it. So the committee that was working on this did a research on rights, Manu Samhita. Nothing came up. How is it possible? Manu Samhita, I don't know how many slokas are in Manu Samhita, but it covers everything. And the word man comes from Manu. It's the law book for humankind. How can there be nothing about rights? Other than Dravida, Prabhu, does anyone know what was wrong with our search? We were looking under rights. Anyone know? Dravida Prabhu, do you know? What? We needed to look for duties. When we looked under duties, pages and pages and pages of stuff. And it's a whole different mentality. Give me this. Prabhupada says too much in Gita, one of the purports, he says too much dependence on others ruins the vitality of the self. I need you to give me this so I can be fulfilled. Well, I'm dependent on you. But duties we can always do. Prabhupada gives a great example. Of course, that if a guest, there's duties for greeting a guest. You have to give a sitting place, you have to give prasadam, you have to bathe their feet, you have to give them a garland, they have to have an intoxicated elephant and Shania band. There's a whole, if you can't, and Prabhupada says in one purport, well, if you can't do that, forget the intoxicated elephant, but you can offer, a sitting place and sweet words and a garland. Well, if you can't do that, you can just offer a meal and sweet words and a sitting place. If you can't do that, you can at least give a grass mat seat and a glass of water and some sweet words. Prabhupada says if you can't even do any of those three things, you can at least fold your hands and cry for your poverty-stricken, situation. And Prabhupada says, and any gentleman and gentlewoman will accept, So, you can always do some form of your duty. That comes from your heart and your activities and your ability. You're not dependent on others to do your duty. So it was quite eye-opening. What is the ethos of Vedic culture? Like, what is it? All things rest on me like pearls on a thread. The whole Vedic culture rests on the principle of duties. Look at Ramayana. Everybody is doing their duty. And therefore the society is stitched together. And people have a sense of identity and empowerment. I could go on. I've already gone on too long. But that's some of the ethos or the mood, the spirit, the driving rationale for creating a constitution. How do we all work together as a worldwide society. Okay, so that's almost finished and you're going to like it. Now, senior leaders safeguard. We talked about this. We've got Diksha gurus that have projects. We've got GBC members that have projects. In Italy, everything has to be under the local GBC and local leadership. That's Italian law. It can't be under the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So how do we safeguard? We have, the value of ISKCON's property is literally in the billions. And it's Krishna's asset. How do we protect it? How do we make sure this Jayapataka Maharaj, may he live another 100 years, but his health is shaky, in all honesty. And he's a great hero, another great hero for carrying on. And he's got a will that instructs his disciples. He wants them all to stay in ISKCON. Don't split off and do your own thing and steal the temple and claim it as your own. No, no, no. So he's got, under the guidance of our attorney, Devaki Nandana, he's got a great will. Gopal Krishna Maharaj, who opened up whatever it was, 18 temples and preaching centers in Delhi, Greater Delhi alone. Such a powerful person. How did he make sure his disciples all stayed lined up after he left? And there was a very smooth transition relations. ISKCON India, in all, how to say this? There are some elements. Prabhupada said spiritual movement in the material world is a difficult place. There will be friction. There will be disagreements. It's in the Bhagavatam, enlightenment from the natural path, the possible bride goes to the house of the groom and she cooks something. Just like, the husband has to have, in traditional Vedic, hierarchy or, organization, the man should have some means to maintain the family. How many cows, how much land, what is he working as, how will he support the family? The bride's family wants to know that. Amongst other things, especially anyone from India will understand, the groom's family wants to know, is she a good cook? Is she going to take good care of her husband and a good, care of her kids? They want to know, what is her character? So the bride goes to the groom, possibly future groom's house, and she's cooking something. And the relatives are all chit-chatting in the front room. She's working with her mother-in-law. Does her mother-in-law like her? Does she like her mother-in-law? Is this whole thing going to work out? They're road testing it, so to speak. So in the Bhagavatam, this is described, and the potential bride is rolling roti or chapatis. And she's got ankle bells. And they, ankle bells, they're making noise. So she's jingling and jangling while she's rolling. And she doesn't want to create a scene or a distraction for the conversation amongst all the relatives. So let's say she's got 8 bangles. She takes 3 off, 5 left. What's happening? Are they still making noise? Even she reduces it down to 2, they still make noise. Other than Dravida, what is the purport of this found in the Bhagavatam? Anyone know? You can hazard a guess. Nobody knows?
She's expected to come without any...
If even there's 2 bangles, they're going to bang against each other. There's going to be noise. So in human society, even that's why sages go off to the banks of the river, the Himalayan caves, so they're all alone. They don't have to deal with other people's minds and argue and discuss and debate. Yeah. They can focus on their meditation on the self, on the super soul. So how did we get off on that? So there will be, when you have a worldwide society with all kinds of different groups and organizations, sometimes they're going to bang against each other, and it's got to be resolved. There are issues in India with the Indian Yatra, as there have been issues in other places. So it's something that we have to work out. So, and I don't want to go into all the details because we don't have time and it's not necessary. But we need to identify and find and train, identify and train young leaders in India who have a broad vision. Just like there's devotees in, I'm an American, I'm the USA, I'm Italian, I'm Australian. There's a lot of, it's just human nature. So I'm India and India for India. But if you're a member of the international governing body, Prabhupada said you should think of the world first and then your zone second. We've all got areas, geographical areas of responsibility. I've got a number of temples I'm responsible for in the Western USA. 17, actually, temples and preaching centers. Keeps me pretty busy. But I should be thinking what's best for the worldwide ISKCON, and then what's best for my local zone. So that was Prabhupada's instruction. So we've got to find people who have a global vision of how we're going to, also able, competent, skilled at managing their local area and their local temple responsibilities, but they've got to be able to think about the world. So we have to identify and mentor future Indian GBC members. That's one of our projects that came out of these discussions. I showed that someone presents, then we have subcommittees that meet and discuss, we have breakout groups, then we come back, share what we heard from the breakout groups, and then what is our action plan based on that? I showed that earlier. So that's one. Establish a committee to establish GBC Bureau collaboration. ISKCON Bureau, because of Indian law, all the properties and all the management has to be done. Like ISKCON San Diego, we're an independent corporation. We've got terms in our bylaw that link us to the international GBC. And Prabhupada was happy, he liked this system. But in India, instead of LA is a separate corporation, Laguna Beach is a separate corporation. All of these are different. It's like a submarine. If it gets flooded, they can shut down one compartment and the rest doesn't get flooded. So if there's a problem in ISKCON LA, ISKCON San Diego doesn't get sucked into it. It's Prabhupada's genius. Now it's confirmed by corporate lawyers and other people. Catholic Church does the same thing. But Prabhupada, although completely saintly and his feet fixed in Goloka Vrindavan, they were also Prabhupada's lotus feet firmly on the ground. He's the most practical person you ever met. So, but in India, we can't set up like that. By Indian law, you have to have one entity. That's the India Bureau. And in some ways, the India Bureau's drifted a little bit away from that international vision. In some ways, in many ways, they're fantastic. It is probably the most successful yatra it shifts. The goddess of fortune is Chanchala. She moves from place to place. So right now, India's basking in success. And to their credit, the hard work of the devotees. So anyway, we've got to strengthen, enhance, improve the relationship between international ISKCON and the Indian Yatra, which is under the Bureau. So that's what that means. Anyway, you get the idea. And to help with that, because everything depends on relationships, people are emotional, especially in this age and time. People are more emotional. They make decisions based more on emotion than on intellect. It's just, I mean, look at divorce. It's all emotion, basically. So to enhance that, the midterm meeting we had in Italy, we've had it in different places. We've had it in New Vrindavan, we've had it in Alachua, we've had it, all around the world to get to know the devotees. Devotees get to know the GBC. It's fun and it's healthy. But we're going to have the next few focused in India so we can stitch that relationship, improve that relationship, enhance that relationship. So that's what that means. Next. Legal counsel, frankly, with Lokanath Maharaj, it's a sad chapter. 30 plus years ago, something happened. And how do we deal with that? So we made a series of decisions. He shouldn't really travel in the West. It's very litigious. There's a lot of, second generation here who are offended by some of the things he did. It's just a fact. I'm sorry. So it's a whole story, and it's a tension point. And so we want to be fair to all the different elements and to Lokanath Maharaj. So that's a sensitive issue we have to deal with. So without embarrassing anybody, that's the best I can say on that one. Refined correspondence. The king of Puri, and this is recorded and going out around the world. Let us say this. The king of Puri. Well, can we stop the recording for a second? Just put it on pause. Well, what the hey? Go ahead. The king of Puri, influenced by the local Pandits, those same Pandits who do not to this day let ISKCON devotees go into the Jagannath temple. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's headquarters for 18 years. It's one of the Chaturdhams, Badrinath, Rameshwaram, Jagannath Puri, and Dwarka, 4 corners of Bharatvarsa. They won't let us in the temple because you're white or you're Western or, And it has a principle. If we were meat eaters, if we were, breaking the regular principles, then yeah, you shouldn't go into the temple, But Vaishnavas who surrendered to their life, Prabhupada would not go. They invited Prabhupada many times because he was a prestigious spiritual leader. And Prabhupada would not go into the Jagannath temple. And he told them, until you let my disciples in, I'm not going, So they criticize us. It rises up and it closes, it rises up and it dies out. But it's quite intense right now. The king of Puri influenced by these Pandits, say that according to Shastra, you should only hold Rath Yatra on certain days. Here's the auspicious calendar. It's in the month of July. You have to do the bathing ceremony at this time. And if you're not bona fide, you're not following Shastra, you're breaking Vedic principles. Now Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, ISKCON's founder, Acharya, the preeminent Siksha guru for all the members of ISKCON. We know the story. Prabhupada, as a small boy, performed Ratha Yatra. He's a great lover of Jagannath and spread Ratha Yatra around the world. Now, what do you do in Australia? July is in the middle of the winter. People are all indoors. The devotees said, Prabhupada, can we have Ratha? If we have Ratha Yatra in our summer, which is December, we can have 250,000 people participate in the Ratha Yatra and see Lord Jagannath. In Hong Kong, I've shown the pictures. We have a blissful Ratha Yatra in Hong Kong, but it's in the evening. Because in the evening, you can get a permit from the government to, on the Kowloon side, of Hong Kong, you can go right through the main shopping district. The business, people from around the world, hundreds of thousands of people. You can't get a permit during the daytime. So there's so many examples. LA Ratha Yatra, it's always the first Sunday in August. It's not in late June, early July. It's too foggy on the beach. You can't count on the weather. But if you do this, the first Sunday in August, in August, you've got warm weather. You've got guaranteed blue skies, generally speaking. And you've got hundreds of thousands of people on the beach. So Prabhupada said, Jagannath, he's not Purinath, he's Jagannath. He's not just ruled by the rules for a little, auspicious, saintly place, no doubt, holy Tirtha, Puri. But Lord Jagannath is the Lord of the universe. Shouldn't we hold Ratha Yatra when the most people can get darshan of Lord Jagannath? It's not that we're whimsical Westerners who can't follow Shastra and want to mess everything up with Vedic culture. No, it's got nothing to do with it. Under the guidance of our founder Acharya, we want to spread Lord Jagannath's darshan, Lord Jagannath's mercy, the holy name, all over the world. And therefore, it's our duty to hold Ratha Yatras around the world at the most opportune time. So we're getting a bunch of flack, and other scholars are saying, well, you can't do it that way. We're saying, what do you want us to do? You want us to abandon the instructions of our merciful, compassionate founder Acharya, who wanted to give Lord Jagannath's mercy around the world to satisfy you? We're saying it more gently. But so that's what this is about. And, it's gone back and forth, and we've tried so many things. In India, we can hold Ratha Yatras in that period. It makes sense. But we can't, So that's what this thing's about. Those are a few of the issues GBC has to deal with. And the Indian government's gotten involved, some factions of it. So it's a delicate condition. Next. This is ISKCON Mayapur. This is actually an animation. To get your bearings, here's the Ganges, Mother Ganga. This is a branch called the Jaladut. What is it? Jalangi. Yeah. Thank you. This is a branch of Jalangi. This is the master plan. This is where we're going. You can't just let development happen in random. You've got a jumble. Before we had a master plan, you've got that area over there. I forget what it's called. That's just a mess. People just, bought pieces of land, threw up skyscrapers, rented it out to make some money, and they don't have proper sewage, proper road. It's a mess. And it's an eyesore. So how do you avoid that, and how do you avoid that for the rest of Mayapur? We have over close to 700 acres of land purchased by the blood, sweat, and tears of book distributors for decades. A portion of the profit from book distribution from our different publishing houses was taken, and is to this day taken, and sent to support Mayapur. Last year, the North American BBT, I'm looking at the time, last year, the North American BBT was the top donor to Mayapur. A percentage, because Prabhupada gave us a whole formula. We charge a little bit on top of the cost of the books, and that money goes to the construction fund. Some of that money goes for the Bhaktivedanta Institute. Of course, some goes to help support the local temple. And then the lion's share goes back to printing more books. And we want to keep it as low as possible so we can distribute as many books as possible, the price of the book. At the same time, Prabhupada wanted quality printing, not on junk paper, because it's important. People are impressed by the presentation. So there's so many factors. Last year, the North American BBT gave a little bit over $250,000 to the Temple of Vedic Planet, to the TOVP and to Mayapur for developing this. It was the top donor of all the BBTs, North European, South European, Australian, Russian, Indian, believe it or not. North America gave more. So when Govardhan, Ananda Vrindavan, what to speak of Dvijamani Prabhu's book score from yesterday? Every book is a brick for Mayapur. It's a fact. So it's just something wonderful, and it's Prabhupada's scheme. So where is that money going? How is it being spent? We have a duty on the GBC given to us by Prabhupada to periodically review the master plan and see how Mayapur is going. I've done presentations on Mayapur. You've seen the little grass hut that leaked, that Prabhupada stayed on the side that leaked, and the deities, Radha Madhava, the Utsav deities, Prabhupada put them on the side of the hut that didn't leak, and everything else is all rice fields and mango groves and banana groves. So to purchase that land, you have no idea went into. How much is a biga? Anyone know how much? I mean, it's like a slice. It's like 1/10 of an acre. And Mayapur, the 700, close to 700 acres we now own and are amalgamated in one area, that had to be purchased biga by biga from Muslim farmers. Whew, it was a tough job. So now this gives you an idea of the central area of Mayapur, the master plan. We're not going to spend too much time on it, but this is the TOVP, Temple of Vedic Planetarium. You've seen pictures of that. This is Prabhupada's Samadhi. This is the Ganga. This is the Jalangi. This is a bridge we're putting over to shorten the trip from Calcutta. This is called Prabhupada Avenue. This is where all the, it's so many things. There'll be hotels, there'll be restaurants, there's parks, there's retreat centers. It's our Vatican. This is the Haribo Stadium, to seat 50,000 people for giant conventions and retreats. We're going to show in a minute, St. Peter's Square, it's like that. Okay, next. So you can't see all this, but these are all the different sections. You see the different colors. This is the TOVP again. This is the existing conch building, guest house. But all of this is being developed. It's our Vaishnav college, it's a hospital, it's so many different things. You got a flavor of the thing. It will be our Vatican. So, and it's got all the acreage. What's it going to be allotted for next? This is, amazingly enough, the devotees in Mayapur and Gopal Krishna Maharaj, the great hero, we've gotten over $2 million US dollars already allocated. This is on the Ganga. This is called Prabhupada Ghat. And this will be, there will be boats that you can take from Calcutta, cruise up the Ganga. You can do it in about an hour and a half or 2 hours. You get a tour along the way. Mother Ganga, you can flow up, and you can sail up to Mayapur. Picturing the number of pilgrims, this will be a beautiful ghat. There'll be change houses where you can take a shower. There's these different chatris. You can sit and read, and gurus and GBCs, sannyasis can hold classes. And these are the steps. You go down to the Ganga. So that's one of the elements. There's so many. Next. Give you an example. This is Prabhupada Plaza. These will be, each yatra will have its own embassy. North America will have a place with this, like the, what is it called? The World's Fair. It'll be like that. You can get, displays of devotee preaching around the world, guest house, hotels, restaurants, retreat centers, all of that. That's where the money is going to develop all that. So these are, fountains, parks. Jaipur, designed by King Jai Singh in Rajasthan, was one of the first planned cities in the world, all laid out according to Vastu Silpa Shastra, which is the Vedic architectural. It's not just buildings, but how to lay out a city. At the center of the city, what is there at the center of the city? Anyone know? Krishna's temple. Vishnu, Narayan, Ramaya, Lord Ram. That's at the center. The king's palace is a little off the center. King is not at the center of the city. He's close to it. But actually, Krishna's at the center. And there's a whole division, how you organize a city. And I can share with you some other time. There are multiple quotes from visitors to Jaipur, Portuguese ambassador, Spanish ambassador, English ambassador, Chinese ambassador, Persian ambassador. It wasn't that they didn't know what the rest of the world was like, and glorifying how beautiful Jaipur was. Even up to the 1800s, it was beautiful. And you've got to have a certain, I forget what it's called, but the ratio of open space to built space. You don't want to cram in everybody like hamsters all piled on top of each other with giant skyscrapers and no room to breathe, no natural light, no parks.
20% to 80%.
Huh?
20% to 80%.
I think our ratio is different, and there's different, you're right, but there's a ratio of open space to built space. So this is all designed according to that, and you'll find that in the Vastu Silpa Shastra. So this is what Mayapur will look like, and we're moving systematically in that direction. And there has to be an elephant tank. We have to have a couple, because we've got our elephants, and those elephants will grow. We use them for ceremony. The number will increase. So so many things you got to think about. Next. So now we've moved on to another topic. Financial governance, varnashram, and devotee care. So we talked about this a little bit. This was specific. Krishna Nam Prabhu, Krishna Nam used to be the director, he's retired, for KPMG, one of the top accounting firms in the world. He was the director for all of their European, I think North European or all European branches. He's top notch. He's a devotee. I think he's initiated either by Radhanath Maharaj, I think Radhanath Maharaj, but if not by Gopal Krishna Maharaj. Wonderful devotee. Super, super smart and expert. So how do we're not talking about central financing. I mean, book distribution, I don't want to go too far afield. But each temple should rise, on its own strength, on its own local congregation, on its own local management, because it creates, strong leaderships and strong, we don't want everybody just begs for pennies from a central office. Prabhupada didn't like that. So Krishnanam, but at the same time, how do you monitor it? How do you make sure that temples have proper accounting systems, that there's CPA, certified public accountants, monitored accounts? How do you make sure that all that's going on when you got 750 temples around the world? How do you do that? So that's talking about the systems, how to put all that together. An emphasis on integrity and financial vigilance as devotee responsibility. Prabhupada watched Krishna's money like a hawk. Prabhupada was, it was not for Krishna's service. He spent millions of dollars. The devotees raised for Krishna's, we got this temple. We got a loan for close to $500,000 from the North American BBT to purchase this building because we had good finance. This is, 40 years ago. Laguna Beach was purchased with a BBT loan from the North American BBT. So many things. And you pay a certain percentage of interest. That goes back. We just approved, I happen to be on one of those committees, we just approved a new roof for the temple in Geneva. And they're paying us back with some interest, 6% interest. It's modest, it's stable, but that interest keeps feeding the fund so you can loan out more money. We should think, Balaram, I just thought of this, about a BBT loan for that van. It's a if you want to go that route. I just thought of that, because we've got strong book distribution. They might be inclined to give us a loan. We'll talk about it later on. Okay, next. This was a presentation. It's too long to go into, by Radhakrishna Prabhu, under the guidance of Shivaram Maharaj, another great hero in our society, Banu Maharaj, the scholar, Kalakanta Prabhu, who's our minister for agriculture, rural development. We jokingly call him the cow minister, but he is. He monitors our cows. So every cow is tagged, ear tagged, so we know, how do we know that some temple doesn't go off the rails and sell the cows? We actually caught a temple that did this in South India, believe it or not. They had old cows, too much money, they sold a few. But because Kalakanta put in place a tagging, he went back and took the inventory. Hey, where are these 3 cows? Caught them. Temple president removed, this one removed, You can't do Krishna's cows. So anyway, weird stuff happens. But the focus on Prabhupada stressed that 50% of my work is not finished. An organized society, people freak. Oh, you're going to tell me I'm a Sudra, and a Sudra is lower than, everybody's a Brahmin. And Brahman means I'm on the top, serve me, No. The higher your spiritual position, the more renounced and austere and humble you need to be. That's the measure. So the last line here, where is it, the last line? Recommendation. Same thing. different presenters, different angles of vision, break into breakout groups, discuss, get down into the granular detail, report back your key points. The full GBC hears it, thinks about it. Okay, what's our plan? What are the action items from this? So it says here, recommendations. Focus on cultivating qualities, truthfulness, humility, charity, rather than rigid social classifications. Anybody, and we'll end in 5-10 minutes max, and it's daylight savings. Hey, so we've got some time. Does anyone here, other than Dravida Prabhu, who's gone into Samadhi, anyone here know Janma? I'm born into a Brahmin family. I'm a Brahmana. I'm born into a Kshatriya family. I'm a Kshatriya. Oh, you're born into a Sudra family? Oh, you're a Sudra. What is it? There's a movie. I haven't seen it, and I'm not going to see it, but it's titled A Day Without a Mexican. Maybe I'm wandering into some dangerous political arena here, but as I understand it, the theme is that what if all of it, people criticize, oh, you're an immigrant, you're coming from El Salvador, Mexico, there. Poof, what happened if all those people were gone? What would happen? Our whole world would slam to a stop. They're doing valuable service. If I don't have any feet, how am I going to walk? If I don't have a stomach, Vaishya, how am I going to digest my food? That society is a body and it needs to work cooperatively. You naturally need the guidance of a head, but the head, the Brahmins, should be the most austere, the most renounced, the most humble. If you're born in the family of a doctor, you have a good chance of becoming a doctor. If you're born in the family of a musician, family of uncle, your father, your mother are all musicians, there's a good chance you're going to become a musician. You have a leg up, as they say. You have a head start. But you come out of the womb and at 6 years old, you can play the trumpet automatically? No. Doesn't mean that at all. So I'm born as a Brahmin. So anyone other than Dravida know the verse in Bhagavad Gita where Krishna himself refutes this. Oh, work with me. Nobody knows? You're close. No, that's Janma Karma. That's Krishna's appearance and disappearance. Who said was that somebody other than Dravida? Balaram. There we go. Chaturvarna Mayasristam Guna Karma Vibhagasa. Guna Karma. By your qualities and your activities. Anyone hear in that verse the word birth, Janma? Doesn't say Janma at all. Krishna said, I've established these 4 orders based on qualities and work. So Prabhupada, just like he gave us an impossible mission, opening temples in the West, turning people into Vaishnavas, look at me. I was a fool and a rascal. So how is it possible? It's an impossible mission. Prabhupada gave us another impossible mission, which was to establish Varnashram so that society can be peaceful, so they can be, if your mind's agitated, how are you going to understand spiritual life? How are you going to practice spiritual life? Everybody, especially now, people are in such anxiety. You have no idea. They're all being put out of business by AI. You learn to be a lawyer, you learn to be so many things. A computer programmer, that used to be a sweet job. You go to UCSD, you graduate, is a computer engineer, you sail into a $100,000 plus job. Not anymore. My friends. It's like buggy whips. So we have a buggy whip factory. What's that going to do for you when cars came in? So, I mean, people, you got the 1% laughing all the way to the bank and the 99% that are being squeezed and squeezed more. But anyway, it's just obscene. People can't afford to get married because they can't buy a house. They can't buy a house. They're living with their parents. Everybody rents. I mean, it is a tough, people are afraid to have kids because they can't afford them. I mean, little old grandmothers a block from the White House are cutting their prescription drugs in half because they can't get enough money. That America doesn't have a national health program that works is obscene. It's deeply offensive. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to editorialize there. But that's what this is. That's what it means to organize society. And that's our job. Prabhupada said, my disease is I cannot think small. Prabhupada said this ISKCON movement is an incarnation of Krishna, and he's come again to save the world. So that's what this is talking about. So here we're making the point. Recommendation is we're not to, don't freak. We're not trying to put everybody into a box and, you know, where you were born. No, let's talk about qualities. We want to teach the world how to be truthful, how to be humble, how to be charitable. Oh, people like that. That they can digest, that they can respect. Oh, that's a goal we like. We tell them, hey, we're going to divide society into 4 branches and it's going to be rigid. They're not listening to you in the democratic Western world. They're not, what? But if you talk about the purpose of this is to teach truthfulness, charity, humility, bravery, duty, sign me up. So that was, you know, how to change our messaging and our goal to fulfill Prabhupada's demand, to fill the needs of society and not freak people out with a rigid, archaic system. That's an important topic, if you ask me. Okay, so next. And so go back. So here's the action item. Radha Krishna Prabhu, Kalakanta Prabhu with Banu Maharaj, the great scholar. And they're going to study how to go about this. What are some things we can do now that help open the door for this? That first off, let's get these, you know, a plan for ISKCON. And they're going to report their progress 2026 Gaur Purnima in Mayapur. Next. I think we're close. Oh, there we are. Children's ministry. The fact of the matter is we lost a whole generation. Almost lost our second generation. Many of them we lost. We didn't take care of them. We didn't prepare them properly. We don't have a good educational system. We had rampant child abuse, as did the Boy Scouts, the Canadian Indian schools, the Catholic Church. We're not alone, but that doesn't excuse us. So how do we take first-class care of our children? You take care of our children, the parents will be happy, the kids. The London Temple, Bhaktivedanta Manor, which is one of the best and largest temples in the ISKCON world, it's practically all managed by kids who grew up in devotee families. And their donor base, their strong financial donor base, are all kids who grew up and had a good time. And now they want to give back. So for duty alone, and because Krishna has put these souls in our care, and it's our duty to help them go back to Godhead, that's enough right there. But for our future, for our staffing base, for our financial base, for our preaching outreach, the Jehovah's Witnesses, don't be discouraged, bury us when it comes to book distribution. They just bury us. And why? Because all of their congregation is trained, knows that it's their job to go out and distribute their literature. It's just in their DNA. It's woven into their society. Imagine, we have congregation in the tens of millions. And if it was in everybody's heart, hey, 1 week in the month, or maybe every Saturday, whatever it is, I distribute books. Can you imagine? We will beat Guinness on what is it? The Gideon's Bibles, who distribute millions of Gitas. So how do we get there? So that gives you an idea of all the different reasons that we need to take better care of our kids. So this is one of our focuses. You can see it right there. So Radha Sundari, who's a wonderful devotee, and she helps the GBC as one of our executive secretaries. Her husband, who's also a jewel, Ananda Tirtha. How does, anyway, I don't want to spend too much time. Ananda Tirtha Prabhu and his wife Radha Sundari are at the top of ISKCON's administrative staff. All the reports, all the records, organizing the meetings. They help organize that. There they are, the hub of the spokes that make the wheel so the cart can turn. And in addition to that, she's been thinking about this for a long, super smart. Her husband's smart, and she's also smart. So they made a basic presentation. The GBC's eyes opened, and we've got to focus time and attention and money on this, whatever money we have. So there's that. Guru Services Committee, I'm not going to go into these, but there's a group of senior devotees, householders and sannyasis. Their special duty is if one of our Diksha gurus has a problem. It happens. You got 150 initiating gurus, you're going to have a few that go off the rails, or may have some medical emergency, Alzheimer's, dementia. It happens. So they need help. They need, how do we deal? Who deals with that? So these are some special cases. Trivikram Maharaj, Dhirashanta Swami, I don't know what happened. Sankarshan. What if and I don't want to pick on Sankarshan, but what if becoming a Diksha guru goes to your head? You ever seen those bridges and it gives you the weight limit? Not to exceed? If you put too much weight on that, as long as you stay under X tons, no problem. It's designed to hold that weight. You put too much weight on that, it'll crumble and crack. You've got the gurus, when they have a modest profile. I mean, you've got some heroes, Jayapataka Maharaj, Gopal Krishna Maharaj, Giriraj Maharaj, Indradyumna Maharaj. They have thousands of disciples. A big fire. If I have a fire, if it's a big fire, I can put a lot of fuel on it. It has the ability to consume it. Fires burn fuel, right? Anything wrong here? No. What if I have a small fire and I dump a bunch of wood on top of it? It goes out. So if you have this gurus who at a certain level functioned, get too many disciples, and it may go to their head. Or they get too burdened by everybody's. We had one Diksha guru, I'm not going to mention names. He had, he was a peaceful brahmachari. He became a sannyasi, did a nice job, got married. Sorry about that. Had to deal with, started to initiate. And all of a sudden, all day long, he's expected to deal with householder problems. how to get young girls married, how to get his male disciples married, and then they get married and they fight, how to sort all out. He's a simple brahmachari at nature, a simple sannyasi. He disappeared. We lost him in the hills of Finland for about 6 months. We had to coax him back. No, don't worry. We'll take, and they ranged in the north. This is another thing we do. The North European GBCs and local leaders got together, figured out how to deal with it, coax the guy, but don't worry, you won't have to deal with it. Just, no more initiation. You just take care of your disciple. Weird stuff happens in this world. It is a difficult place. So that's the Guru Services Committee. They're dealing with these different issues. Next. This is Sabha. We have, just like a constitution, you have different groups, and we have different voices in ISKCON. There's the Vaishnavi ministry. There's a Grihastha ministry. There's different yatra. There's the Indian yatra. There's the European. There's the African. How do we all hear all those voices? There's a sannyas ministry. There's a Diksha Guru ministry. I'm waiting for a GBC ministry. Help me with my psychological issues. It's a lot of pressure, So, anyway, this was a suggestion from Sabha. We have the ISKCON GBC, that body of about 13 members. Then there's something called the deputies. Swavas Prabhu, our LA Temple president, Tukaram Prabhu, Sandamani Mataji. They are deputies. I'm trying to pick names you know. They help the GBC. They meet before our GBC meetings. They sort through the proposals. They sort through issues. They come up with suggestions. It's extremely valuable work. And they're senior mature devotees. So Sabha was something said, I forget Sadhu, I forget what it stands for. I apologize for that. But it's senior devotees who are not not necessarily temple president. Let me say this right. They're not deputies who primarily their job is the deputy's primary job is to assist the GBCs processing all the suggestions, proposals, issues that come to us. They help pre-digest, package those, and get those ready for us. Just like the federal government has so many agencies who do most of the work of governing, actually. We're going to wrap up. Oh, we're really late, but we're going to wrap up. The deputies do that. Sabha is a group of senior devotees around the world who are not on the GBC, not on, whatever. But it's a sampling of senior mature devotees around the world. What do they think? We send all of our GBC resolutions to them, see what they think. We're not obliged, but we're very appreciative. They give suggestions if they think something's a little off or could be improved, or, hey, did you think about this? So that's Sabha. So they presented, we're not going to go into the details, a way of refining ISKCON's guru system. Yeah, I appreciate that, but we got to get going. So you've got we want a senior, experienced, mature gurus who've been doing this service for a number of years and proven that they can handle it. Let them mentor, guide, help, monitor devotees that are just starting. You may want local gurus. This is their suggestion. You take 10, 12 disciples. How do you give the love, care, and attention and monitoring if you have 500 to 5,000 to 50,000 disciples. You can't really do the job. It's hard to. So how do we refine? The whole goal is to take better care of the devotees and not burn out Diksha gurus. Because it's a phenomenon that happens now. So that this was a suggestion for Sabha, that you have senior gurus, associate gurus, you can read the script. So that's something, and they're going to report back to us at the Mayapur meeting 2026, Gorpanim, February. Next. Day 5, oh geez, we're going to zip through this. So reflections, these are the two things I mentioned earlier. I can send you these slides later on because we really are getting over time. So different ways of outreach. Let's get with a program. What's the rest of the world doing? What's cutting edge technology? What are ideas? And you can just see a few there. You know, stronger congregational engagement, leveraging technology, podcasts, QR codes in the books. So many things. These are just a few. There were so many good ideas. So we need to focus on this. So Global Preaching Strategies Commemoration. You know, what is our follow-up? We don't really, let's be honest. How much if you get a Jehovah's Witness book, and it can be a little off-putting, I understand. They got somebody knocking on your door next Saturday. And they keep knocking on your door till you open it. Now, I'm not advocating pressure like that, but how are we cultivating people who get Prabhupada's books? What's our follow-up? What's our outreach? How do we help those people? Some people open Bhagavad Gita, they see the Sanskrit names in chapter 1, they close the book and don't read it again. Because, what? I got to learn a foreign language? How do we help them over that bridge so they can see the richness of Gita and what it can do for their life? How do we help them with that? That's our job. So that's what all this is about. Okay, next. And so the afternoon session was about this ISKCON 60th anniversary, 50-60. Anyone remember what 50-60 means? Other than Dravida, other than Balaram? We talked about it. 50 years anniversary of Prabhupada's passing, and 60-year anniversary of Prabhupada's incorporating ISKCON. So we're combining these two, 50-60. She made some, because it's a golden opportunity. Media locks onto these kind of things. Temples, nothing focuses like a deadline. So anyway, this was a presentation. You'll hear more about it. The 5th, I didn't realize it was printed right there. This is New Mayapur. New Mayapur, they had their GBC and primary Diksha Guru, Zonal Acharya, crashed land, Bhagavan Das. Another example of doing great at a certain level, too much position, too much worship, too much opulence, went to his head and he crash landed. I'm just telling the truth. So, and the French Yatra never really recovered. They lost like 70% of their devotees, their donor base. You know, they've never recovered. New Mayapur, Prabhupada visited New Mayapur. It's a beautiful chateau out in the French countryside. So many stories. Some of the, remind me another day. Mystical things that have happened. But they lost their donor base, they lost their deity, their devotees. There was like two Brahmins, husband and wife couple, somehow or other managing to at least make sure the deities got changed once a week and got prasadam, a couple offerings a day, max. So it's been through the ringer. And periodically, you know, we went around the world, collect money, fix the plumbing. It's a big place, cost a lot of money. You know, they were sued by this and that, somehow or other collected money around the world. paid for their legal fees, fought the battle so the land wasn't foreclosed on and it wasn't lost. Welcome to the GBC world. There's a lot going on. When I miss Bhagavatam, I'm not sleeping over there. Sorry, personal editorial. So this couple, Lochanananda and Gandharvika, husband and wife couple, have been through thick and thin. And little by little, they've gathered different devotees, they've gathered a congregational base, and they gave a report. Every year they give a report, or I think it's every 3 years, they give a report. And they've just done a fantastic job. We can't take our eyes off the ball, but New Mayapur is stabilized. It's growing. It's up to date with its bills. The deities are being worshipped properly. The roof's been repaired. I mean, where do you want to start, They're starting to farm again. It's a real success story. So these devotees made a report, and we just, we thank them. And rightly so. Okay, so next. Oh, geez. So 60-50 proposal, New Mayapur audit. It's a whole story. We need to really have a handle on the land sales, the finances, the master plan. It's our world headquarters. It should be pristine and pure and expertly managed. It's got a ways to go. It's a big project. So, whatever. We're going to audit. We have to understand how the whole place works and put some improvements. It's good. It could be better. Anyway, and to improve and repair our relationship with the Indian Yatra. And there it is. And I think we have one more picture. This was actually quite sweet. You've got 35, 40 guests for 5 days. There's laundry that needs to be done. There's cooking that needs to be done. There's cleaning. There's a lot of, there's secretarial work. It's a ton of stuff. So these are disciples from all over Italy. And we wanted to call them in and thank them, and give some sweet words of appreciation because they worked hard. When we called them in, here's the head of the thing. His name was what? Jai Gauranga, yeah. This is Jai Gauranga and his excellent wife, and who ran this team, organized it. They came in. We wanted to thank them and give them some gifts. They came in, and he's reading a letter thanking us for coming. Oh, it was so enlivened. Great classes, great kirtans. Thank you for coming. Thank you for the work you're doing. I mean, it was a tearjerker. It really was an emotional moment. This is Vaishnava culture. We wanted to praise them. They're praising us. Everybody, had a big hug out, as they say. It was a lot of fun. So next. So at the end of you can't see everybody, but there was we had a blissful about a 1-hour kirtan afterwards. So this was the conclusion of the meetings. Actually, I have one more slide. I thought you'd like this. This is a giant cake that we commissioned to give to the staff. They made another cake, which we didn't know, to give to us. So, and this is an Italian pastry. This is, whipped cream, marzipan, fruit, delicious, an inch thick, fluffy frosting. So it says ISKCON right here, and then here it says Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So that's how we ended the meeting. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna. Sorry I went over time, but Huh? We could end the class that way too. Yeah, with the cake. And next week, what we'll do next week is we'll do that little slideshow on the Italian Yatra, because there's some philosophy in there, Damodar Vrat, Kartik, like that. So I'll show that next. And I got from Jayapataka Maharaj over the years, I have a treasure trove from Bhakti Charu Maharaj and Jayapataka Maharaj of Gaur Das Babaji Leela. So next Sunday, we'll do the Gaur Das Babaji Leela and the Italia Yatra Tour with the Kartik flavor. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thanks, Prabhu.